Goku! Are you finished?
Hello everyone, we are going to react to a Goku and Vegeta vs Sonic and Shadow video from Lung's Gates. I think I watched some of his videos before, if I'm not mistaken. But this guy is so garbage with the Dragon Ball power skill and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not going to hate him as a person, obviously not, just this fictional, but his skilling wise is not really that good. I can tell where this is going to go. I know he's going to make Sonic Shadow and it's so obvious, but we're going to debunk him. Let's do this.
Horse at this point if I mentioned the surface level similarities between the Dragon Ball and Sonic the Hedgehog franchises. While most of the comparisons are ultimately reductive to both series, one comparison that I do think is actually pretty accurate is the connection Sonic and Shadow have between Goku and Vegeta.
Yes, that is true. There's similarities there, yeah. Because the creator of Sonic loves Dragon Ball so much that he wanted to do that. That is right there.
You didn't know, the original concept art of Super Sonic was ripped directly from the art of Super Saiyan Goku on Namek, and when years later it came time to design Shadow the Hedgehog, one of the explicit main inspirations of Shadow's initial concept art was Vegeta. Plus, their relation...
Yeah, that is correct as well. Like I said, the creator of Sonic loves Dragon Ball, bro. He wanted to do that. Switching forms as well, same thing.
Ships are pretty similar. Both pairs have been constantly called friendly rivals with one another for years. This raises an interesting question. When comparing the originals with characters they are at least in part inspired by, who is actually stronger? Both the Saiyans and the Hedgehogs at this point
we all know
have
who's
decades
stronger.
Of lore and a wide array of feats across pretty much every medium that exists, from games to manga to animations. But who would win in a 2v2 fight? Goku and Vegeta or Shadow and Sonic? Let's find out. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like, subscribe, and let's jump right in. Now, for this video, we'll be talking about the mainline incarnations of these characters, because, like I said before, there are simply so many different official versions of them that do exist. This means the Dragon Ball Super incarnations of Goku and Vegeta, and the main video game versions of Sonic and Shadow. If you want to see me talk about other versions, like maybe Heroes versus the Archie Comics versions, or just straight up composite...
That is overkill. Don't even do that. Heroes was destroy Archie. Literally, you could have DBZ beating Archie Sonic. Like, to be fair, Archie Sonic is not like that. The way he's talking, I could tell this is gonna be like about the game characters than the game side instead of the comics for Sonic. So interesting, I guess, but even so, you don't need heroes. It's overkill. No one's super, no one's DBZ is overkill still. Let's just continue.
Goku versus Composite Sonic, let me know in the comments and I can do a follow-up. To begin, before we get into even comparing the scaling of either side, we need to establish how both duos actually compare to one another. If it turns out Shadow is massively stronger than Sonic, or that Goku is massively stronger than Vegeta, then the fight could turn into more of a 2v1, which may tip the fight drastically in the favor of one team. Starting with Team Dragon Ball, the answer is much clearer here than it is with Team Sonic. At this point in the manga, the Saiyans have never been more different in how they fight, with Goku going down the path of the Angels with Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta going down the path of the Destroyers with Ultra Ego. While definitionally, these forms could not be more different from one another. One involves dodging all attacks, while the other mostly involves getting hit with as many attacks as possible. In practice, they are still mostly ending up being equal. Throughout the granola...
Yes, there's a scan that says that they're the two strongest Saiyans. So yeah, technically they are equal.
Arc, when Goku and Vegeta actually go at their full power at the same time, they essentially perform the same as one another. While there are times where one would slightly pull ahead through evolving their respective forms, they would then immediately be tied once again by the next fight. Because
we're seeing they grow during the battle. Especially when they get damaged themselves, and then after that, when they heal, they get even more stronger. This is why we say like Saints, they have no limits. It's true, they definitely don't have no limits. They will always keep getting stronger no matter what.
Superhero arc by itself made it seem that perhaps once again Goku had pulled ahead of Vegeta during his fight with Beast Gohan, with Vegeta gulping in statements like strongest versus strongest. However, Toyotaro himself has stepped forward to clarify that no, Goku and Vegeta, along with Piccolo, Gohan, and Broly, are all still essentially equals with one another.
That is the one translation. If I had to scan it, I will show it right now. That's the one translation. They are not equal. Relax with that. See, this guy's already at a bad start, bro. Oh my days. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. That's a one translation. It was never said they're equal. Cause that is so stupid. Piccolo was struggling against Cell Max. He's getting beaten in his strongest form. Then when Gohan got his new transformation, he no diff with Cell Max. So no, they're not equal. That is a lie. Broly now, he did fought Gohan Beast, but this is training after all, so we don't know when they actually like fight for real. Don't know what will happen, but Broly was adapting to it. And when Goku and Gohan fight, Goku was looking at Broly while he was fighting Gohan. And Gohan didn't really knock him out Ultra Instinct. I don't think so, but regardless, I think Goku would have won that fight if they continued fighting, if I'm being for real. So no, like, right now, the strongest is still Goku and Vegeta.
Well, we
That's all
do
I'm
know
saying.
at some point after Super, Goku does probably become the strongest in the universe. That hasn't happened yet, and we don't know by how much. So scaling-wise, this
Yes, that's this Dragon Ball GT. That's for Dragon Ball GT timeline. We don't care about super trash Dragon Ball GT.
Saiyans are essentially interchangeable with one another. While Goku and Vegeta being equal is pretty explicit, Sonic and Shadow's current status is a lot more vibes-based. While in the past, and even in the game, Sonic and Shadows have been called equals in speed and power plenty of times, as time has gone on, these statements are getting fewer and further between. This is kind of bad for Shadow because Sonic continuously gets better and better feats, and continually grows in power to...
Well, yeah, because they showcase Sonic a lot. It's mostly about Sonic. That's the reason why. Dragon Ball is about every other characters. That's the difference. But in the base forms, these guys are weaker. They need the emeralds to get stronger. They're the only way.
Lift his old full power all the time. Even in Sonic Forces, the last game from a timeline perspective that had Shadow and Sonic together, Sonic is consistently outperforming Shadow in the latter half of that game against characters like Infinite, the strongest enemy in Sonic history.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that this is just a promotional ad thing. This is a promotional thing, meaning that Solaris is not really... No, not... Infinite is not really the strongest villain. The strongest villain is still Solaris when it comes to the games itself.
To that point, maybe. This would get worse when in the following game, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic grows massively stronger and takes on the Titans, who are stated to be as strong as previous final bosses, while only being the initial bosses of the game, and ultimately kind of fodder by the end of it. While we would get Shadow Generations that gave Shadow a pretty good boost in power, the main issue is that this takes place at the same time as Sonic Generations, which is nearly 15 years old at this point. Well, I have no doubt we'll get a Sonic game in the future that once again slingshot Shadow to catch up with Sonic again. At this exact moment, you simply can't prove that they're equals. However, that doesn't mean that they can't scale within the same tier, so with that being said, let's finally jump into the actual feats and power scaling for these rivals. Now, just like
Oh,
Dragon
see
Ball,
now.
the Sonic verse has had a somewhat pretty consistent escalation of power throughout its history. Feats have mostly gotten bigger and better as time has gone on, and when feats don't improve, there is usually statements just saying the new bad guy is stronger than the old bad guy. As Shadow wasn't introduced in the franchise for a good part of the way through, there's no reason to go in depth with the scaling of the classic era of Sonic, which is fine because its feats aren't really comparable to the modern and adventure era. For a baseline, we'll start with probably an unexpected place, being the game Sonic Riders. In this game, the main cast are able to defeat a being known as the Babylon Guardian. Guides explain that the Babylon Guardian can manipulate a dimension that extends into infinite nothingness, and that he was turning the entire thing into a hellscape. Even though this was technically a team effort, even being fractionally comparable to the Guardian would mean that everyone already has baseline infinite 3D or being universal.
Well, at least he's not skilling this high, but if they work together to fight him, then it just proves that, like, they don't individually scale towards him. But it's wherever, man. We'll just leave it a universal for them for now.
From this feat. Several other games during this era would make Universal Sonic, or at least Universal Super Sonic, pretty consistent, with Sonic Rush having the Soul Emeralds and the equivalent of the Chaos Emeralds being used to fuse two universes together. While this may seem like a potential cap for Sonic, making the Emeralds and the Super Sonic only slightly beyond Universal, the thing is that, like I mentioned before, Sonic has surpassed his Super State multiple times, outright beating enemies that required Super Sonic to beat in previous games. Now, jumping to the probably best feats in the Sonic universe, you have the Time Eater and Solaris. Now, personally, I don't really care which of these two you think is ultimately more powerful, as ultimately their feats are just really similar. Solaris is just outright stated to be a super dimensional life form that was going to destroy all timelines and space-time in the Sonic multiverse, which there has been confirmed to be an infinite number. This would also include higher dimension spaces like Imaginary World, which we are literally told is a fourth dimensional space. Given that Solaris was not only going to destroy an infinite fourth dimensional multiverse, but also every single one of its timelines, this then puts the Cosmic God anywhere from 5 to 6D. The Time Eater has very similar feats and statements, being stated to have destroyed all of time and space, the space-time continuum, and even some Sonic writers saying that he just outright destroyed the fourth dimension. Now, both of these fights required Sonic to not only use Super Sonic, but also have help from another character also.
Yes, he did have help. It just proves that he doesn't individually scale to these guys. He needed help. I understand when they transform Super Sonic or like the super forms, it gives them infinite power, infinite energy, or whatever, which is alright. But they still need help to fight the enemies that are powerful. So technically, they'll overall scale to them. On top of it, Solaris, that wasn't really Solaris. That's just like his anger or whatever. And then like Shadow and Silver was with him to beat the Avatar, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully.
Using the super form, notably his past self in Generations and Shadow and Silver in Sonic 06. If you don't know what Super Sonic is, I'm honestly surprised you've made it this far in this video. Regardless, this might not actually matter. Like I mentioned previously, since Sonic 06 and Generations, several enemies, including the Titans and Infinite, have gotten statements of potentially being the strongest foes Sonic has faced up to that point.
Yeah,
however,
promotional
there are
ad
some
for
contentions.
Infinite.
Again, with some Sonic writers stating that no,
Promotional
Infinite
ad.
is not a Super Sonic level threat, and would lose to even characters like Dark Gaia, let alone the Time Eater or Solaris. Still, all this really changes is if Sonic gets that strong in his base form or not, which is really up to you because Super Sonic's multiplier has clearly varied within the games and has no set increase. We've been talking a lot about power up to this point, despite speed being the main thing Sonic and Shadow are known for, and frankly, that's just because it's incredibly straightforward. Multiple times at this point, Sonic has fought in spaces without a flow of time, kept up with characters who can travel through or literally exist at multiple points in time simultaneously, or are able to destroy timelines, all of which require attacks that, shockingly, must be fast enough to travel through time. As for unique abilities, most of these actually fall on Shadow, perhaps to somewhat make up for falling behind Sonic in power overall. At his peak, Shadow is just outright stated to have reality warping that can alter the fabric of the universe, though mostly it's just used to temporarily stop time, teleport, and shoot blasts of energy. So, overall...
Wait, you see how he was using that in the white space? That's a contradiction then. How could there not be any time there, and yet you can still use like stop time, which is crazy. So that's contradictory right there. If there's a way to debunk it, then this guy probably would use it, or any other Sonic fans would. But no, there's no debunk to that.
Sonic has the power, Shadow has the versatility, and together they have the speed. But is that enough for Goku and Vegeta? Let's get into it. Now, when it comes
They're
to
way
scaling
above
Goku
that.
and Vegeta, there are simply so many different potential arguments for how to scale them based on how you personally see the cosmology of Dragon Ball. It goes without saying that the current point of the story, universe busting and anything similar, has long passed as the strongest tier of power, as even the most basic attacks from God Goku were putting the entire structure of Universe 7 at immediate risk. Of course, Universe 7 is not just a standard universe, but multiple separate universe sides.
This is just a diagram of the macrocosm, but no, this is not how it actually looks. Turn on this, say to that. So no, it's not how the macrocosm looks.
Or fractionally universe-sized spaces, making this a pretty obvious multiversal feat. Since then, the strength growth of Goku and Vegeta
Maybe I should let him continue, but no, this is not multiversal, bro. Again, this is a downplay skill. But yeah, Universe 7 macrocosm is big to be a multiversal.
has been so ridiculous, it's kind of hard to keep track of how many times they've gotten stronger. God becomes their power and base, and then they get a form that's at least 50 times more powerful than the God form that made them multiverse busters in the first place. They also have multiple training sessions, both with each other and gods, that last for years on end, and we are only now getting to the Universe 6 tournament. Goku and Vegeta then get surpassed by base Goku Black, only to train more and surpass Goku Black in their own version of Super Saiyan Blue, surpassing their limits and holding their own against
because Saiyans always get stronger no matter
Goku
what.
Black and Zamasu
Every time they
before
battle.
fusing themselves. In the Tournament of Power, they both achieve brand new godly forms that massively surpass Blue, while also getting some of the biggest mid-battle power-ups of their entire lives. Since then, they've continued to train, mastering even more techniques and taking on even bigger threats like Broly, Moro, and Gas, with Vegeta in particular finally getting a form that rivals Goku's Ultra Instinct. Aside from Ultra Eco, which allows Vegeta to get stronger from damage, and Ultra Instinct, which allows Goku to fight without thinking, there are only a handful of abilities that massively set Goku and Vegeta apart as combatants, aside from the Dragon Ball's casual skill set. Vegeta has forced Spirit Fission, which can undo fusions and remove stolen
Yes, he can
energy,
do that.
and also has the Hakai technique, an ability that can erase what it touches from existence. Meanwhile, Goku has access to the many techniques he's picked up from allies and teachers over the years, like the Solar Flare, Spirit Bomb, and Instant Transmission. Due to the scale of their power and the wide
This
array
guy
of
didn't say
spaces they've been
oh
to
my
throughout their
God.
history, it's not
You forgot Hakai. Goku has Hakai as well. It may not be as complete as Vegeta's, but like he still has Hakai because he did use it against Zamasu.
reasonable to say that Goku and Vegeta have infinite speed or beyond, given that they've moved
Alright, let's continue.
and destroyed timelines, or given the fact that the energy from their attacks has reached beyond an infinite universe and both have only gotten faster from both of these feats. There's only one more way for them to get stronger, and that of course is fusion, as at
Alright, so he's at least he has him like infinite speed. At least he's not downplaying the speed, but this is still downplay. Especially the feat as well, the AP feat. They would have immeasurable or around irrelevant speed. They can move. Their powers can move beyond time and space, like what Goku did against Hit. As Hit was time skip into the future and he stopped time. Goku, with his sheer strength and power and speed, brought him back into the present day. He went into the future and brought him back into the present day. So that's immeasurable speed right there. And then the characters them being relative to Jiren themselves. When Jiren said to have powers that transcend time itself. So that would be immeasurable speed as well. There's multiple ways to get into immeasurable speed. But with the macrocosm feat alone, even with certain macrocosm feat, is more than that. So this guy is not fully skilling them. So yeah, this guy doesn't know how to skill Dragon Ball. That would be out of reversal due to like Otherworld and Calcium realms. These realms are disconnected from the physical universe on the most metaphysical level, which means above physicality. And it's more evidence from the manga and anime as well, when characters come from corporeal world, which means other world is considered non-corporeal, non-temporal as well. It's proof that it's non-physical. Then it's also stated that like it doesn't have the concept of time and space, which means I don't have any dimensionality as well. It's non-existent there, and also transcend dimension. So therefore, it would be out of versal. And then these characters are capable of destroying that set realm, which would put them at out of versal level. So this is an overkill battle.
At this point, they both know how to do the dance if they really want to, and can become Gogeta at any time. While the fusion dance multiplier is contentious, if it's like the Potara's A times B, or if it's more of a general multiplication in power. Regardless, this lets them essentially no-diff characters like Broly, who could walk through their combined Super Saiyan Blue attacks, and is just referred to as their ultimate trump card ability. While we haven't seen Gogeta in a while, at this point he'd be able to use everything Goku and Vegeta have learned since their fight with Broly.
I don't know if they'd be able to use Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego at the same time in the fuse. Cause I know that that's a fan-made thing, fan-made theory. But if they're capable of doing that, then that would definitely surprise Frieza. But even though Frieza does know about fusions anyways, he's not worried about that. So I guess he's saying that like he'll be stronger than both of them in the strongest form while they're fused together, I guess. Which is crazy then.
So a hypothetical Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct Gogeta using them at the same time is not out of the realm of possibility. But would this form fall to Sonic and Shadow, or is this total overkill? So looking at everything together, I think the big difference in scaling between Sonic and Dragon Ball is the severe difference in cosmology. The Sonic universe has the most explicit higher dimensional and infinite multiverse and timeline statements.
Oh my... Hold on.
Dragon Ball's cosmology, at least in latter areas explicitly, does not have that in the main content.
This guy's in the main continuity. This guy forgetting there's heroes and other things that are licensed as well. There's multiple timelines that Dragon Ball has. This guy, yeah, this guy's bad, bro. Oh my god. There's no way he just said that. Long skates, bro. You have to do better than this. Dragon Ball has infinite timelines as well. The difference is Dragon Ball skills way higher than Sonic. So you're completely wrong. Jeez. You can't say like it's small just because one timeline itself has like 12 universes. Remember, there used to be more than that, which is like 18 or 19. But these universes itself is not just universes. They're different multiverses as well. Because how big these things are and how things they have within them. So I don't get it. This guy didn't fully explain properly about the Dragon Ball cosmology. So he's bad right there.
Even the most impressive feats we've seen, like Xeno erasing the whole timeline, pale in comparison to the Time Eater and Solaris, who again destroyed or are going to destroy an infinite amount of them. If you want to use something
my god. My guy. The difference is with Zeno doing that to a timeline and Solaris, if he did do it, Zeno feat was outer versal. And you can get that high, actually, matter of fact, that could be high outer. Since he's destroying multiple of these outer versal realms. Make that make sense. Solaris feat now doesn't really skill him that high. You would explain like if it could reach like an outer versal like levels, but that could easily be debunked anyways.
Vegeta and Broly potentially going into a super dimension based on the non-canon Broly movie novel, that doesn't change things.
Non-canon Broly? Oh, this guy sucks! When it comes to powers, oh hell nah. Yeah, this guy got it. He said that's non-canon. It is not non-canon, bro. It is not non-canon. Is he stupid? Is he stupid? In Super Dimension, you can scale it anywhere like from like 5D or higher. You can even get that to outer versal as well. It depends on the cosmology. But for Dragon Ball, you can get it outer if you know how to argue for it. I haven't used that argument for a while. I'm gonna be for real, but I just lowball it to 5D every time. But yeah, this guy is already like, he's doing bad in this video, bro. You know, this video been like uploaded for 11 months now.
because they would still be your inferior, or at best equal to what Solaris is explicitly stated to be. There really are no major ability on either side.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. When they had the super dimensional battle, they shattered reality itself. The fight was beyond time and space as well. Also, that's like the same thing, but like we could skill this in Dragon Ball to outer. You guys cannot for Sonic. So, and talk about Sonic in these characters, they do skill towards Solaris. They need help. They don't individually skill to him. Even the creator of Archie Sonic said that, bro. Which is funny. Make that make sense. Oh my god.
I think massively sways swings. I could maybe see Spirit Fission being able to turn off Supersonic and Shadow, but that requires Vegeta actually.
Oh yeah, cause they're technically fused with the Chaos Emeralds. Yeah, since Vegeta is faster than them, he would easily be able to do that. He could definitely like do that. But I already know what this clown is going to say.
Being able to damage the hedgehogs in their super states, which he cannot actually
God.
do due to the massive gap in power between them.
No, bro. You saying like because they have infinite power when they use the Chaos Emeralds? Yeah, again, these scenes have no limits. So you can say like Ki and Dragon Ball is like infinite towards them as well, and these guys can literally beat characters with infinite power as well. Anyways, so it's not a win con for Sonic and Shadow, bro. Vegeta would still touch them easily. And they just mastery skill way above the entirety of the verse. So they would no diff Sonic and Shadow.
Unfortunately, it seems like the fakers are going to take the win. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, this guy was bad, bro. If I had this scan still from like Sonic, this is like prove that like they're not all that, I would just show it, but I don't right now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I debunking him. And like yeah, man, overall like game Sonic wise, you just be like low compass multi